Howdy, howdy, guys. I'm the most civilized savage. I'm here to talk to you about the inauguration tomorrow. I just made a video, but I think I'm gonna make this one instead. Fuck it. Anyways, so this is our 46th president. Joe Biden is getting inaugurated tomorrow on January 20th, 2021. It's gonna be fun from what everybody says. So that's exciting. Not really. I'm a little worried about it because I don't really want a civil war, but currently the police are going door to door. They have been all year. They've been closing people down. They've been closing everything down, right? You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't say this, you can't say that, right? And you're not allowed to tell the truth. And the fact that we need the military in the District of Columbia, which I have many statements on, but the fact that we need them there to protect the president during inauguration of all days, right, has me a little upset, right? That American citizens aren't allowed to go see their 46th president get inaugurated, whether you agree with him or not, right? You should be able to put him in a little box or screen in front of him or whatever, and you should have snipers everywhere or whatever the fuck you normally do, right? I know you guys fail, hence JFK's whole deal, right? And that's not your fault. Hypothetically, if you're in office right now, seeing how that was 60 years ago. So the thing is our military is supposed to protect the people. And I'm not saying Joe Biden isn't a part of the people. I'm not saying that he wasn't elected by the people. I'm not saying that part of the military's job isn't to protect the president. These are not things that I'm saying. What I am saying is the fact that we absolutely need it is quite interesting, right? It was 2 weeks ago we had congressmen and women scared of their own constituents across the country. They were hiding and fleeing from their own constituents. Why? Why would so many people be mad at their government? Why? And I'm not here to answer this for you. I have plenty of my own disagreements with the American government, and I'm hoping sooner or later one of them will come and talk to me about them or something, but that's likely not going to happen because they're incompetent fucking do-nothings. So there's that. But there's a lot of things we need to question with where we're going with our government and who's in charge and things like that. I didn't vote for Trump last time. I didn't vote for him this time. I didn't vote for Biden. I've decided I'm no longer going to vote because my one vote doesn't matter to the 110 million fucking assholes that are too incompetent to have any real faith in themselves. And that's kind of where we're at with America. Nobody believes in themselves to do nothing, right? Nobody has any worth. Well, some people do, right? But the average person doesn't view themselves as anything, right? And that's a sad thought. They view themselves as unable to do anything. And this goes from the elderly to the kids to just everybody. And it's getting to the point where when there's nothing to do, people do everything, and that there is a scary thought, right? I learned this a long time ago, right? When there's nothing to do, people do everything, and that there can be scary. People tend to do bad things when they have nothing to do, right? Especially when you bring in incompetent people, especially when you bring in the overly moral people, the moral and the ignorant, right? The biased people. Those people, oh my god. Although everybody has their biases. I discriminate against broccoli on the daily, right? I also discriminate against those who don't believe in American ideals. And how I view American ideals is different than every other American, so I then don't like myself a lot because I call my fellow man stuff I probably shouldn't because it's not exactly nice, right? But I use these words that fit their definition. That's why people get angry, is because they hear a word and it fits them, but it's not a good word in their book. And so with that, they get angry. And when their anger holds a resentment and so on and so forth until we get to the point of a real aptitude for disaster. And that disaster has been happening all year, well, all last year, right? We locked down everything, right? We doubled down on our Patriot Act because our congressmen were too incompetent. Yet, guess what? They haven't stopped a single terrorist yet in my book, right? When I listen to the news and they invoke all this terror on its citizens because of this and that reason, politically, that is terrorism, right? The definition of terrorism, right? When a cop stops me for no reason, right? Just to push a little force on their politics, that is terrorism. There are plenty of things that are terrorism, and we push it down to martyrs today, in today's civilization, right? Those willing to sacrifice themselves, usually for some stupid ideal, blah blah blah. Martyrs, right? But we're getting more and more martyrs, and it's not funny. We're getting more and more people at their last line, and it's not funny. And we're just saying it's okay, and that's not funny, right? You're saying people can't quit. You're saying people can't change. You're saying people have to do it your way, or they are obsolete. And I don't think that is okay. I lived on a computer for many years. It was fun, I guess. I don't know. But here's the thing about it. It was not like real life. In real life wasn't fun, but it was exciting. And there's a huge difference between what's on this screen, what's on this recorder, right? Whatever you're watching this on, right? There's a huge difference between this, a movie, paper, and the real world. And not enough people know the difference, right? The difference between a child watching Star Wars or a child believing in Santa Claus. We have adults that watch the news and listen to this person and that person and get their opinions from this guy and that guy. And who the fuck are these people, right? On plenty of my books, it says author is XX, blah, 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 right? You read a little bit about that guy, and who fucking cares about that guy? The book was good, right? Did you really need to go know that guy's name? I don't know. He liked it though. He did the work. He wanted his proof. He wanted to be the Achilles to the Achilles heel, right? Tendon, whatever. Anyways, and so that's fine. But then we get into like people like politicians like Joe Biden. And he's been an author of quite a few things he's put on media. He's pretty well documenting being a political figure for his time frame that he has been. And people forget what he's actually done in his tenure. And I don't think that's okay to forget what people have done in their tenure. Right? I don't think it's okay to be so hypocritical. I don't think it's okay to be so biased later in life. You can't tell me you changed that much in your ideals, I don't think. And the thing is, when it comes to the main topic that Joe Biden really gets slammed for, yeah, he was from a different time. Yeah, they were taught differently. Does he probably believe that shit that he spoke about? Probably not. But when he says stuff like, even poor kids can be as brilliant and bright as white kids. And then he says stuff like, if you're not black, or if you're not voting for me, you're not black. Well, I'm sorry that melanin is decided by you, Joe Biden. I know previously in your tenure you were too ignorant to even know what melanin is. I'm not sure if you know what it is now. Because you didn't want Americans with higher melanin into your education system previously. So there's that, right? But that's just a bias. That's something that's been brought up by about our next president, right? Number 46. Congratulations, right? It is scary in things like his wife answering about how was the vaccine shot because he couldn't remember. That was a pretty scary thing to see on video. And so, I don't know. There's just a lot to be thinking about and to say, but really, we need more conversations with more people. And really, we need to just stop what we're doing for a little bit, right? Someone wrote the amendment that said the day that people become president, right? And there is actually an amendment that changed what it was into what it is, right? So by saying that we have to do this all right now, we all 2020, 2021 in January so far, we pushed and we pushed and we pushed our agendas and we pushed our beliefs and we pushed to the point that people are breaking, that you're hurting the Americans out there with just by your bickering and your fucking compromises and all your bullshit. You are hurting your constituents. You won't even look your constituents in the eyes, and you are hurting them. And you want me to say everything is fine. After the history I have had and the experiences I have had with the government, I cannot say it is fine. Right? I love America. It has given me so many blessings. And there are so many people that want to take those blessings away for their safety, for some idealism, for some, maybe just so that they can sit on their chair 5 extra minutes a fucking day. But for their own luxury, they want from someone else. They need from someone else. Right? You tell me a homeless person's been homeless for 5 years and he needs help. He should have asked me 5 years ago. Did he not have a single person to ask 5 years ago for help? And now I'm supposed to help him? If he had nobody, I'm supposed to help him now? Okay, it's not his fault. Okay, I'll give him a hand up. Want a shower? Right? Then I'll take you to go get a job. I'll drop you off at your interview. That's all I can do. Wait, there are no jobs right now? Right? Unemployment is at record high? Right? You probably couldn't even be drafted right now. That's sad. Right? That was my first legal document I signed as an adult. Draft papers. Oh well. There's a lot going on in America, and I think the masses need to just stop. Not stop going to work, not stop doing this or that, but they need to stop and contemplate their life. Right? They need to stop and ask. Have you ever had those politicians you vote for in your house eating your food and drinking your wine or your water or your whatever? Have you shared salt and bread with them? Right? Have they invited you to do the same? Because I doubt they have. No, they're too worried about taking your money and your ideas and your thoughts, and they're too worried that you don't want to give them that to come talk to you, right? If you have to talk to them, you might change your opinion on them. You might see them as just another fucking guy, right? Some guy that might be dumber than you, and that's okay too, right? Some guy that doesn't know his asshole from his elbow, right? Which is okay. Some people don't need to know the difference between that, right? It's just, there's a thing called common sense, which is a very odd phrase. But let's take 7 billion people, divide it in half, and we'll have one woman and one man somewhere right there in the middle, right? And those will be your average woman and your average man. In some version of dividing those people in half, right? And to say whether that man is smart or dumb or whatever, I don't know. I really don't. I'm not the guy to decide that. But people like Biden and people like Trump and people like Pelosi and people like the Clintons, both of them, and the Bushes are fine, right? But they're politicians, and you guys need to see them as politicians, right? We can look at any government in history, at any politician in history, and you can see where they fucked up. And they fucked up bad because they're human, right? We had thousands of years of nations falling. Falling. Not all these nations were here 100 years ago. Not all these nations were here 1,000 years ago. Right? So we have to think about that as well. And it's just all very scary. And when we talk about fear and stuff like that, we induce terror, and that's not okay, right? Our media is terrorism. Our politicians are terrorism. Our people are terrorists, right? They invaded the Capitol. I wanted to do that years ago. Years ago, I wanted to do that, right? And the thing is, they didn't. I had nobody that held any faith in what I was saying. And that's fine. But now that people are coming and saying the truth, and I am way past that, well, what to do now, right? Well, I'm working on just quitting them, quitting their government, right? I quit being American if the rules are being American aren't American, right? Is that okay? Um, we have rules for what a government is allowed to do and isn't allowed to do, right? And we betrayed most of those principles. And congrats to Joe Biden for being number 46. But most people don't remember who number one is. And he is on the dollar bill, right? Nobody remembers what he was doing. Nobody remembers what he did. Nobody remembers or gives a shit, right? They're just worried about if they have a couple in their pocket, right? They're worried that if they get put it in that stripper's thong ever again because COVID lockdowns, right? They're worried about a lot of things, and it's not about the guy on the dollar bill, right? It's not about his principles, his ideals. It's not about these people's principles or ideals. It's about the states and the federal's principles and ideals right now, today. Not the American ideals, not any of that, right? And I don't know. There have been a long train of abuses and usurpations that have struck America in many different ways, and I'm not saying whatever is going to happen tomorrow is going to be outrageous, but I am saying that y'all better stop and think of where everything's going. Whether you're a politician, right? Before you sign your next paper, think about what you're signing. If you're a doctor, before you sign that next prescription, should that person really be taking that prescription? Is there not a better medicine that you weren't just bribed to fucking push, right? When it comes to teachers, are you sure you're right on the information you have that you are giving, right? When it comes to workers, are you sure you are producing your product the way you're supposed to, how it's supposed to be done, and safely, and whatever else, right? For the military, right? What is your oath? For the police, what is your oath, right? For the politicians, what is your oath, right? What are you going to do tomorrow? What are all of you going to do tomorrow? Because I know what I'm going to do. The same thing I've been doing for the last year now, at least this time around. To go to work, come home, enjoy my family for a little bit, pay some taxes on a couple things, pay some bills, and I guess find out if anything more messed up somewhere else in the world that I shouldn't have to give a fuck about, right? I don't care if it's Washington D.C. That's as far away from me as Great Britain was to the 13 colonies, right? So, in all honesty, those people should not be affecting me right now. I should not be worried about what's going on 3,000 miles away. That is a scary thought, right? I should not be scared that they are going to call someone that's closer than the 3,000 miles away. That person closer is going to come to my house. And because I said something that was scary to them, they are going to lock me up. That is scary, right? When I've seen a German doctor get ransacked and locked up for what he was saying, and then people in America are just disappearing off platforms and their speech is being silenced, and the world's getting to be a pretty crazy place, and it was destined to happen because of how we've done things, and we've done things improperly, and we've let the wrong people get into power or stay in power too long, right? We've let the ignorant and the biased make too many decisions. We made a lot of populist decisions, or we've made a lot of decisions without comprehending the consequences to those decisions. And no offense to Joe Biden as a person, but with the data I have been given, I can understand why people think he is incompetent to lead a nation. And we have put so many rules and guidelines and everything else, and we have put so many regulations on anything that a normal person can't even be president anymore, right? Without selling their soul to Harvard or some corporation, right? Like education is a corporation. So doctors, teachers, lawyers, those are parts of a corporation. And you can say lawyers aren't and blah blah blah, but that is one of the most dangerous corporations we have around, and we can talk about that. But those do nothing bureaucrats that get paid a lot of money to just talk about opinions, and opinions that have decided people's livelihoods. I don't really think that I should take anything they have to say for any value, right? But who am I? I am just an American. I am one of 328 million in something thousand, right? I am definitely just one individual, right? And so my individual rights no longer matter in America. Okay, but when you tell that to my daughter, I'm done. I'm done with you as a society, right? You have become a bastardization of whatever civilization you and cultural society you thought you were becoming, right? You wanted to be good. Well, you've done a lot of good things, but you have done enough bad things to make the people not like you anymore, and that means it's enough. You're done. Retire, right? But then who takes charge, right? Who takes charge of what? And that's what we need to be thinking of, is if everybody just quit, what would be our next step? Would we be able to defend ourselves? Who would be on our side? Because right now, we have a border. We have sides. It is America versus the world. The world is not our friend. And people need to realize this. The world is not our friend. If they have a different belief than us, it is okay that they have that belief, but we need to be cautious of that belief. Is that so hard to understand? If it is different than us, we need to be worried about it, right? A good example, right? The average person likes their, okay, the average adult, right, likes another adult and not a child, right? If you like children, stay in whatever fucking country lets you like children at whatever age. That should be fair enough. We should watch those people, right? We should be cautious of those people, right? If it's a bunch of murderers, if their country is known for fucking war and murdering people, right? God bless America. Anyways, then maybe we shouldn't let them in our country. If we bomb the shit out of their country, maybe we should hold up until hostilities go down. Have we made amends with many countries? No. Did most of the countries deserve what we did to them? I have no opinion on that. Right? And so, I don't know. There's a lot going on, guys. This is the most civilized savage. Have a good one.